What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Abe, and this is the EVE Online patch notes for May 26th, which is today. So if you're seeing this, it's fresh, hot off the internet presses. And I figured we would just check out what was going on. I think there's some big changes that came out this month, and that will probably be changing the nature of play again, or continue to anyway, for this point moving forward. And these all went live today. So if you're seeing this, this is in the game. So let's just jump right in. We've got the modules. They changed the name of the module group Armor Reinforcer to Armor Plate, and changed the blueprint group from Armor Reinforcer Blueprint to Armor Plate Blueprint. And they renamed all shield and armor resistance bonus rigs and their blueprints from anti-EM screen reinforcer or all those screen reinforcers, and also for armor all of the pump modules, to just shield reinforcer and armor reinforcer. Makes a little bit more sense, a little more intuitive. They committed armor hardener tier aside. All armor hardeners and their blueprints were renamed as follows: flavor name armor damage type hardener, flavor name damage type armor hardener. For example, armor EM hardener 1 turned into EM armor hardener 1. That's all a lot of word soup there. Corpus C-type armor kinetic hardener then would turn into Corpus C-type kinetic armor hardener. So they just switched the order of a couple words there. Experimental modules were renamed to experimental enduring modules. Prototype modules were renamed to prototype compact modules. And the following modules have been converted. Upgraded EM armor hardener were upgraded or converted to experimental enduring EM armor hardener, and that's true for all of them. The upgraded version went to experimental, like it said, and the limited version went to prototype compact. All market orders for the converted modules will be removed. The modules in escrow will be returned to the character who created the order. We will convert every module of one type into modules of another type, everywhere in the database. This includes modules currently fit to ships and modules in containers or contracts. Meta level changes. Named meta was 2, 3, or 4 is now meta level 1. Faction meta 9 is now meta 8. C-type dead space meta 11 is meta 10. A-type dead space meta 13 is meta 14. X-type dead space meta 14 is meta 16. Officer meta 12, 13, and 14 are now meta 13, 15, and 17. Other attribute changes. Armor Hardener 1 is now volumetrically 5. Same with explosive, kinetic, thermal. They were 20. The experimental enduring EM armor hardener 1 now has a CPU requirement of 33, up from 28, an activation cost of 10, down from 26, and a duration of 24 seconds, up from 20 seconds. And the resistance went from 40 to negative, or it went from 40 to 42. So it actually increased, and heat damage increased from 6.6 to 7.91. And this is true across all versions of it. And this is the experimental enduring version of the armor hardeners. The prototype compact version had its stats changed as well. So the CPU went from 26 down to 16. The activation cost went from 24 up to 30. And the resistance went from 40 to 42. And that's for prototype compact. Domination, the duration went from 20 to 24 seconds. The EM resistance went from 40 to 44. Republic Fleet, duration again up from 20 to 24. EM resistance from 40 to 44. Brokara's modified armor hardeners, the resistances went from 45.8 to 46.7. Bryn's modified armor hardeners went from 45.8 to 46.7. Same thing with Tare's. And the Centis B-type armor hardeners went from 47.6 to 47.3. It's a very small change. The Core B-type, same thing. The Corpus B-type, same thing. The Racier's modified armor hardeners went from 47.6 to 48.2. Same thing with Celin's. or Selene, depending on how you want to pronounce that, 47.6 to 48.2. Along with Tuvans, the Vinsis A-type, the core A-type, and the Corpus A-type all went from 49.4 down to 48.8. The Aramin modified armor hardeners went from 49.4 to 49.7. Same with Satil and Vizian. The Vinsis X-type, the core X-type, and the Corpus X-type all went from 51.2 to 50.3 resistance to whatever it was they were protecting against. The Armor Repair Unit January 2020 tier-side revision changed meta level to align with new meta guidelines and armor repaired on several high meta modules. Let's see. We're going to get a lot of numbers here. It's like everything increased a little bit here. All right. So Brokara's and Tare's large armor repair, modified large armor repair, repaired from previously 1139, now 1194. Selene and Racier previously repaired 1242, now it's repairing 1297. Vizan and Aramin previously repaired 1346 and now currently 1401. Kelm and Draclira previously were repairing 1449 and now are repairing 1475. Bryn and Tuvan, let's see, those are not the same. Bryn is up from 1012 to 1060. Tuvan is up from 1104 to 1152. Satil is up from 1196 to 1244. And Cormac is up from 1288 to 1311 repaired. The Shield Hardener April 2020 tier-side revision. All adaptive and vulnerability shield hardeners have been renamed to multi-spectrum shield hardeners. Well, that's just gonna... Damn it, I've spent so many years. How am I going to remember? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The anti-prefix has been removed from the names of all shield hardeners. Attribute changes. And more number soup. Wow. All right, here's what I'm going to do. Instead of reading all of these out, because I'm not sure that that does you any good, I would just say go and look at your hardeners, figure out what's changed. Specifically, it looks like the resistances have changed across all of these things. And go to the page that I'm looking at here on EVE Online's website. You can quickly just search for EVE Online patch notes and realize we're looking at 18.05. And you can see a lot of these are changing. They're getting a little bit better, but these are all like the named and officer module versions. They're very slight changes, some of them slightly down, but mostly they're getting slightly better. So, yeah, swing on over here, look at some of the numbers if you're interested. If not, don't worry about it. Same thing with the shield boosters here. There are a bunch. All of the specific named versions of these large, extra large shield boosters are having their numbers tweaked a little bit. Mission and NPCs. The next chapter of the Triglavian invasion will unfold over the coming months. They removed mining asteroids from non-mining nullsec combat anomalies. That's interesting. So if you would go into, Rock Haven, for example, there may be a ton of, I don't remember if this specific one does, but there may be a ton of asteroids in there for mining. And the same thing is true with missions. A lot of missions have mining asteroids. So they're trying to impact and change the economy, and it sounds like people are just going and mining the anomalies and or their missions, and the intended impact on the economy has not taken place. Ships. Some of the attributes of the Council Diplomatic Shuttle have been adjusted. The hull hit points added, I'm not sure based on these numbers whether they went from 26 to 50 or whether they increased by 26 to 50. And shield hit points went down 50 to 300. Shield and armor resistance is unified to 33% for all resistance types, and the signature radius dropped 5 to 20. Structures and deployables, and I think this is what the big changes were that they were talking about. Significant changes to structure gameplay as previously announced via dev blog are live. Structures now have a new third power state, abandoned, in addition to full power and low power. Structures that do not consume fuel for an extended period will become abandoned. While in an abandoned state, a structure will be quicker to destroy and will also drop much more loot. When a structure has no online service modules, it will be low power. This starts a hidden 7 to 8 day timer. If the timer completes without any service modules being online, then the structure will be abandoned. If the owner onlines a service module at any time, the structure will immediately begin consuming fuel and become full power again. An abandoned structure suffers from some major drawbacks. It will skip the hull reinforcement phase. This means it has no reinforcement cycles at all and can be destroyed in a single attack session. Damage caps will continue to apply as normal war deck or Concord rules continue to apply. It does not have any tethering capability at all. If it explodes, an abandoned structure will not push any items into asset safety whatsoever. All assets located in the structure are eligible to drop as loot. This will be the same behavior as a current wormhole structure. Note that as long as the structure is still in space, you can still manually push your assets into asset safety as normal. When a structure is close to becoming abandoned, all characters or corporations with assets in the structure will receive a notification that their assets are potentially at risk. Unanchoring an abandoned structure will push all assets into asset safety as normal. The loot drop only applies to exploding abandoned structures. The 5 faction citadels introduced as replacements for outposts and conquerable stations, the Moreau, the Dracus, the Horizon, the Marginus, and the Prometheus Fortizars, are exempt from the asset safety penalty because they have a special bonus, meaning that they will never transition to abandoned. These citadels can remain in a low power state indefinitely. The structure browser window, well, the price of those is going to skyrocket, but the structure browser window lists a corporation's own structures. This will now include an indication of which structures are low power and which are abandoned. The asset browser window will highlight any structures containing your personal assets which are currently low power or abandoned. You are advised to consider pushing your assets in abandoned structures into asset safety, as otherwise they are at risk of sudden loss. True. When a structure is forced into low power mode as a result of entering a hull repair or reinforcement cycle, it will now internally remember which service modules were online at the time. If it survives and returns to full health, it will automatically make an attempt to re-online those service modules, provided that it has enough or sufficient fuel to cover the onlining cost. All these changes apply equally to flex structures as well as regular structures. So for example, jump bridges and Sino jammer or beacon structures will automatically re-online their service modules and thus re-enable their specific functionalities after surviving an attack. Structures that are low power on patch day will begin their 7 to 8 day countdown as soon as the server is restarted. So in 7 to 8 days, there are going to be a lot of piñatas out there waiting to be popped. User interface, updated text on the character creation, improved navigation bar on the character creation to be more clear, replaced slave child ancestry icon with liberated children ancestry, improved randomize my name field on the character creation to be more distinct, removed portrait screen from the character creation, removed screenshot confirmation from customization, added warning for leaving starter system when tutorial is on, added highlight in fitting window when mousing over a module. The slots where it fits are highlighted, added a market history tab that will show the history of successful, expired, or canceled orders, and users will now be able to explain why they have pressed the thumbs down button when in the settings menu. A pop-up will appear offering people to explain why they didn't like playing Eve that day. Feels like a Pandora's box, but whatever. Defect fixes. They fixed several mimesis implants to use the correct skill requirements. Graphics. They fixed an issue that caused parts of the Drekavac to display incorrectly with the Dreamtime skin. Fixed an issue that caused cryptic mimesis skin to have missing visual effects on the Dominix and Typhoon. Fixed an issue that could cause character creation to freeze under rare circumstances. They updated the Needlejack trace icons to match its visuals. Fixed an issue whereby a capsule would not return to the default skin correctly. Fixed an issue where ships would not bob in hangars. And fixed an issue where ship or character preview window were not affected by character sensitivity or camera sensitivity settings. Localization. They fixed the text description for Enduring EM Shield Hardener. They removed erroneous reinforcement day messaging from corporate settings dialog, and they fixed text errors in reinforcement times window after hacking a structure. User interface. Tool tips for blueprints are no longer displaying information about missing skills as it caused too much information or too much confusion and visual noise. Updated the required for tab on skills to display for blueprints only the information for the manufacturing activity. Fixed display of letters in the French client language setting. Fixed an issue with overlapping text when resizing window on the last stage of the character creation. Fixed an issue on the wallet, which only sorted transactions on current page instead of all available. They adjusted the localization for the word overview in the wallet. They fixed an issue with configure ship health alert settings window UI. The collapse arrow, this is all fixed an issue with. The collapse arrow in the wallet not updating between personal and corporate wallet. Insurance quotes window text overlapping with buttons. The scrolling position persisting between pages on the wallet window. The wallet not displaying corporation tax on the transactions filter. That's good. I was noticing that. The corporate wallet showing clients instead of members in market transactions. Large corporation logos overlapping with portrait in the standings tab. The randomize my name so it works on the first try. And where bookmarks failed to show up on the sensor overlay for a system if they contained a bookmark to an old deleted structure. An issue that caused no warning message to be given when attempting to auto-link an invalid name to item type. The Eve Mail label color choice selection panel, it could remain open and have multiple instances. Overlapping text in left section of notification settings window. An issue where clicking twice on a surrender email response prompt as an alliance non-executor produces a blank window. Expanding and collapsing fittings for one faction expands all fittings for that faction across all ship classes. Fixed the icon and description of the broken skill canister that was given out in the daily login rewards. Fixed an issue preventing you from creating contracts with fractional ISK prices, and adjusted tabs on character creation and customization to avoid overlapping with the next button. And that's a lot, but that's it. So, what do you think of these changes? What do you think of the whole loot pinata mechanism that they implemented? Because I think that a lot of people are looking forward to that, and exploration is going to become a little bit more desperate and fervent over the next few days, or a few weeks anyway. Regardless, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.